300km/h straights, fast-paced corners, and more crashes to its name than just about every other Australian racetrack. Mount Panorama is visceral, it's fast-paced, and you need to have total confidence in your race car to get around there quickly and safely. With most of 2021 being spent getting this car ready for racing, it's left us very little time before the event, and with no seat time, our confidence was lacking, which is not what you want going into Mount Panorama. Well, there's no explanation needed as to where we are. That is the main straight of Sydney Motorsport Park, and we're here at a Driving Solutions open pit lane day. We've got two cars here, our 300ZX with its freshly forged VG30 motor, and Leon with his new Tractoy GT3 Cup car. And well, there's a couple of things we're doing today: testing the cars and feeling them out, and getting ready for the road to Bathurst. We've got the Challenge Bathurst coming up in a little over 6 weeks, and we have to get these two cars ready for Mount Panorama. So let's do it.
Well, the car's running. We've just been out for the first session and it's doing well by all accounts. We've already got a couple of changes we want to make before Mount Panorama, and that's the goal of today, is really just to make sure the car's performing like it's supposed to and iron out any sort of teething issues we're going to have before we head to the mountain in less than a month's time. First off the bat is a restrictor in the power steering system. It's got way too much assist because it's intended to be a luxury barge in the 1980s. We're not using it for that, and it could do with a little more feedback through the wheel. On top of that, we also want to fit an electric water pump before Mount Panorama, just allowing us to cycle the coolant with the car off as well, just making bleeding the cooling system, as well as cooling the car down after sessions, way easier. But besides that, we're going to head out again in a second and get some more seat time in.
As well as our own resident mechanic James having a steer in the regularity portion of the event, we've also invited James Stewart from Driving Solutions to have a guest steer in the super sprint side of things. He's not a stranger to high horsepower race cars, and he should be able to extract all that the 300ZX has to offer. After identifying the power steering overheated, we had to retire to the pits, identify the issue, which caused us to finish the track session without power steering. We knew we'd have to fix it before Mount Panorama.
we're less than 24 hours away from heading out to Mount Panorama with our 300ZX. Now, last time you guys saw this car and myself, we were at Sydney Motorsport Park giving our fresh engine the shakedown. And since then, we've done about 70 laps of Sydney Motorsport Park, so safe to say it's run in. But as we already spoke, it wasn't without problems. We had a couple of teething issues with the car, and we've had to tackle those before Bathurst. We've actually just finished up now. I don't know why it's always last minute with motorsport, but that's the way it goes. We're actually heading back to Sydney Motorsport Park between now and Mount Panorama, so in about 5 hours time, to go and get a feel for the new AO52 Yokohamas that we put onto the car. This is just one of the steps that we've taken with the car to try and get some more mechanical grip out of it before we head to Mount Panorama, which is actually forecast for rain all weekend. So that adds to it. On top of that, we had power steering cavitation issues, as you may have seen at Sydney Motorsport Park. We've fitted the ever popular TS Holden Astra electric power steering pump to this car, and it's working fantastic. And we're heading out on the track with that as well for the first time tonight, but no reason for that not to go well. Also, with the rain forecast for Mount Panorama, we've taken the liberty of installing a T7 design motorsport electric heater. This is just for demisting purposes, but it doesn't require any coolant lines going to it. It's simply 12 volt and a very, very large fuse. But they work really, really well. They weigh absolutely nothing. So we've gone that route. It's mounted in the passenger footwell with a pipe going up to the dashboard in front of the driver. Just in case it does get foggy inside, we're still gonna be able to see what wall we're hitting. Now on the other end of the spectrum, it also gets really, really hot in the cabin. So just in case it's humid and hot at Bathurst, which could go either way at Mount Panorama, we've fitted a NACA duct into the rear window with a pipe going up towards the driver's face, and we can just angle that wherever we like it. So we have the ability to have fresh air from outside, and we also have the ability to have hot air on the windscreen. Complementing the NACA duct and the demister is the use of heat protection products exclusively in the engine build video you guys would have seen. Number one for me is the exhaust wrap on the crossover pipe and the headers and the dump pipe, when that's made a huge difference to the in-car temperatures, especially over a long period of time on track, and you cannot put a price on that sort of thing. So we should be set for any weather conditions. When we haven't been working on the car, we have been busy trying to put together a short collection of spares and essentials to take to the racetrack. And it's a question that everyone asks themselves the day before a race or a track day is, what do I need to bring with me? And there's no real answer. I've always found that it doesn't matter what you pack. If something goes wrong, you'll need whatever you didn't pack. So don't pack light, pack as much as you can. We are taking spare crank angle sensors, spare coil packs, 2 sets of plugs, obviously enough oil to do about 4 oil changes. Brake fluid's an obvious one. All the fluids are obvious ones. But if you think you might need it and you can fit it, in my experience, take it. This weekend at Panorama is a regularity event. And for you, those guys who don't know what regularity means, basically it's kind of like dial your own at the drags. You nominate a lap time, and the idea is to be as close to on that lap time as possible without going over it. So it's about consistency. And our secret weapon for something like this is the Garmin Catalyst Driver Trainer. Now this thing is fantastic. Obviously, you guys may have seen us using it in the in-car footage at Sydney Motorsport Park. But the big sell for this thing when it comes to regularity events is at a track like Mount Panorama, where I haven't done it before, and James hasn't done it in this car before, you can break down the lap times sector by sector, look at your optimal lap, look at where you can improve, and nominate the perfect lap time so that you don't nominate something that becomes too slow as you get better at the racetrack. So that's going to be awesome to use. And obviously with the changing weather, we're going to have to change our lap times to adapt to that as well. For those who aren't familiar with this car's build process, we're using 33 GDR front and rear discs and Z32 brake calipers on the front. That means that DBA has us sorted with just about a disc available for every range they do. So we're taking a couple of sets with us to the track, as well as a couple of different compounds of Paget racing pads, as we don't know what brake temps we're expecting at Mount Panorama, but I can guarantee you they're going to be high. Now, like I just said, I haven't done Mount Panorama before, and this is a 500 horsepower death trap. It's a terrifying car to drive at the best of times, and Mount Panorama is a track that if you don't have a little bit of respect for it, you're insane. So I'm incredibly excited to go there, but a bit nervous as well, especially given the weather predictions. So I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun, But hopefully I see you guys at the end of this weekend with the car still looking somewhat how it does now and driving onto the trailer on its own power, but we'll see. So we had a couple of dramas at the racetrack last night. We were supposed to be on the trailer an hour ago, obviously we're not. Cooling system had an air pocket hidden in it somewhere, and we found that about 6 laps in, and the car decided to overheat on us in a big way. Brought it in and brought it back to the shop, checked it over. We're just going to put it on the trailer now, but as you can see, it is absolutely pouring with rain, and we're running late. Oh, take the 200. So it's off to a good start.